Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. My name is editor Martin Creamer joins me today to unpack the latest in the mining industry. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Sashni.
Now, can you tell us about the integration of Mponeng and Mine Waste Solutions surface gold recovery operation into Harmony Gold, presenting opportunities in the West Wits area?
You know, the far western part of the Witwatersrand gold treasure was really the preserve of Anglo Gold Ashanti, and we call it the West Wits. But of course, Harmony Gold moved in there with Kasasu Letu, and now Harmony Gold has taken over Mponeng and the surface rights there as well for surface material. And so this is opening up a whole new situation where synergies can be unlocked and plants can be consolidated. And this is the sort of atmosphere that is going on now, because on the 1st of October, Harmony Gold will officially move in and take over those assets, and Anglo Gold Ashanti will no longer have assets in South Africa. Mponeng is the world's deepest mine. It's not only the deepest gold mine, it's the world's deepest mine. So there are a lot of challenges there, but Harmony is used to dealing at this depth. But what is also seen as a very important thing is mine waste solutions. That's the material on surface, and they are planning to recover gold from that and to concentrate on a consolidation of the surface material to get the most out of it, because with the gold price flying in rand terms at more than R1,000,000 a kilogram, a lot of opportunities are opening up, and your margin will be best and your risk least if you deal with surface material. Harmony Gold already knows how to do that. It's got other surface material projects. It's got the Phoenix project. It's done well with it. So it's hoping to really get some good margins out of this material, and that'll be great for South Africa as well. We need to produce a lot more gold here. We are down below the number 6 position in the world, and the more we can earn in foreign exchange, the better for the country. A lot of the Reserve Bank effort often used to depend on gold exports. We don't have that same level. So it'll be great to get all the gold mines pumping again, particularly at this high rand price and high dollar price, and do a lot for all stakeholders, their workers, their shareholders, but also the country that needs a lot of effort, a lot of foreign exchange to come in at the moment.
And Pan African has proposed a record final dividend after headline earnings surged 93%, and net cash generated by operating activities rose by 32%.
Yes, Pan African Resources is a very interesting mid-tier gold operation. It's again half surface material and half underground. And you can see the final dividend that it's paying now is at a record level. So it's giving a lot of cash back to its shareholders. Of course, that has to be approved at the next AGM. But in the meantime, you know, you can see every time that company reports now, it's consistently better. And it's moving up to 190,000 ounces that it's projecting that it'll produce. And there's very little doubt that it will be able to do that. Every single project that it tackles, it executes with great aplomb. And we saw with Ilikulu, they have really done well with that project. I mean, there were some naysayers originally from the investor community about them developing this Ilikulu in Evander. But brother, it's going to pay for itself so quickly. They thought it was going to be 4 years, but it looks like it'll be more like 2 years, half of that it'll pay for itself. And even though, you know, there was some hedging involved because debt had to be redeemed, Pan African then hedged some of its material and wouldn't have got the best out of, you know, the gold price. Going forward from December, you know, all the hedging will be gone. And even with these restrictions, we saw Ilikulu just itself produce, you know, earnings before interest and tax and depreciation and amortization of R1 billion. And so they really know how to execute these projects. We see with New Consort Mine, that was a problem child. They've turned that around. They're now looking at the Egoli project. Of course, Egoli is always associated with gold, and this is a mine that is really all there. They have to just resuscitate it. And this is probably the most uncomplicated return of a gold mine at a time where we need a lot more gold produced for foreign exchange purposes, for profits, for companies, and the gold price being so good always makes it important to get these things going. And again, they'll execute this, I believe, with great detail. They'll come out of it, as they said, or better. The infrastructure is already there. It just needs to be refurbished, and no shafts have to be sunk. So it is a mine there waiting to be exploited, and they're going to do that. Some of their longer range projects they'll hold back on because they want to be consistent with their dividend payments. But in the meantime, they're doing a lot of exciting things around there. They don't only float the boats of their shareholders, they float the boats of their employees. The wage agreement they reached will only expire, I think, in 2021 June. They also look to developing communities. During COVID, they really spread a lot of goodwill with food hampers. Now they're looking into going into an agricultural project. Not that they want to be in farming. They'll do it in partnership with someone who does know about farming, but they will use mine land, and there's a lot of land there, particularly in this Barberton area, but also the mines in general. They often have big land holdings. And to actually get agricultural going there, not for themselves, but for the communities, is wonderful for South Africa. And you can see that that's what's going to go ahead now, creating about 400 jobs in the Barberton area and growing blueberries, which is one of the products they're looking at. But it's exciting to see that they look to community development and skills development, a lot of other things they're doing there. So the mines these days really make a contribution, and we've seen that during COVID, and they've come out of COVID very well, all these groups. They've managed to just shove off all the constraints and do well on the financial front and also on the safety front. So it's been a good report from Pan African Resources. It's listed in London, it's listed in Johannesburg, now also in the United States. And it's one of those gold companies that the investors in the United States like. We see with DRD Gold as well. The investors in the United States really like that. So it's good that they're on the ADR in the United States, and that will officially click in, I think, very soon now in October.
And lastly, tell us about platinum possibly on its way into battery electric vehicles as a battery metal.
Yes, we've always seen the situation where when people talk about battery electric vehicles, and that is, Elon Musk and the Tesla side of it, they tend to emphasize, the metals and minerals which we don't have readily available. We have some of it, but not all of it. But, the particularly lithium gets a lot of airtime when it comes to these battery electric vehicles. And also you get the cobalt and nickel, which we have, but not in huge abundance. But what has been going on behind the scenes is that the company listed in Canada and New York, and that is Platinum Group Metals, headed by Michael Jones, who's also active in South Africa in the Waterkloof with his mine developing there, has been going into research with the university to try and see what sort of entry Platinum Group Metals can make into these battery electric vehicles, so the batteries, the battery minerals and metals that are needed in the battery electric vehicle. And they have just patented an entry of Platinum Group Metals, which is very good news. And it seems like the entry of Platinum Group Metals is going to work wonders for the batteries that are used for battery electric vehicles. And that will mean that at last we have a situation where Platinum Group Metals are not excluded from battery electric vehicles, but they're also big players, within what we are used to there, which is the fuel cell electric vehicle, which is also developing very strongly now when it comes to trucks, trams, buses, planes, and all the other side of transport, as well as, stationary electric power like the power stations we know, and heat generation, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere. That's very, very important. So ultimately, I think the spectrum will be largely covered by the platinum group metals and the hydrogen fuel cell, where platinum group metals will play a big part. But it's wonderful news that platinum group metals can now make an entry into battery electric vehicles, it seems, from which everyone thought they would be excluded. And the contribution that they look like that they'll make is pretty exciting.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the local and global mining industries. And don't forget to listen to the audio version of our Mining Weekly daily email newsletter.